Hello and welcome to Module 10, your last module of this semester. You've worked so hard all semester long, and now you just have one module left to finish before you complete the main parts of this course. Module 10 covers two chapters, chapters 12 and 13, and you will have an extended time to complete this module. Everything for this module will be due by 11:59 p.m. on August 1st. So let's go ahead and pop into Blackboard, and I'll chat about a few things in here. Okay. Here we go. In Module 10, Chapter 12 focuses on writing and reading and bringing the writing component into your literacy classroom. All semester we've been talking about reading and reading strategies and language acquisition. Now we're going to pull in the writing piece. And you'll see that a lot of the concepts are intertwined with each other as you're learning about different ways to incorporate writing into your class. You'll probably recognize some of those strategies from when we were talking about the different reading components. You will cover the 5 different steps of the writing process. You'll learn about guided writing in Writer's Workshop, so similar to guided reading in Reader's Workshop. You'll see some parallels there. There'll be some good discussion about how to bring technology into your writing assignments, as well as how to incorporate writing into your different content areas. So you'll talk about biopoems and geopoems and so forth. And so you should see several different assignments or journals or poetry, different ways your students can write about what they are learning. There'll also be a good section on how to adapt your writing strategies and your writing lessons and your writing assignments for students' diverse needs, but also for their different interests that they may have. And so you'll see where you can provide some choice for your students. Certainly there's the assessment piece of writing, so you'll learn about how students can keep portfolios, different types of writing that they can do, so maybe a brochure or a poster, a graphic novel, short story, and so forth, and different ways to assess those writing pieces, whether it's through those portfolios or through rubrics or peer evaluation and so forth. But throughout this chapter, I really want you to think about how you can integrate your reading and writing into your different lessons, whether you're in a general classroom or a content-specific classroom. When you move into Chapter 13, now you're talking about that literacy program as a whole across your school. And so you've talked about, or throughout the semester, you've learned about lots of different components of that literacy program. And you may not be thinking that, right away in your school where you'll be teaching that you'll be running the whole program. But even if you're a classroom teacher, it's really important to understand the different components of that program so that you can better collaborate with your colleagues as well as with the literacy specialist in the school. So you'll learn about the different stakeholders who are involved, different ways to manage the program, to assess it, how to improve it, how to get your parents involved, how to get different community members or resources involved in your program, as well as that professional development piece so that you, as well as your colleagues, are adequately trained to implement that literacy program. The key is that you want to make sure to build support for that literacy program. So sure, the teachers and the students, but also the administration within your school, the administration within your district, parents, community members, and so forth. So make sure to spend some time looking at that, especially the checklist that is on, I believe, page 528. That's a really nice way to say, okay, if you're already in a school right now, what kind of pieces do you already have and how could you improve? Okay. All right, so there's your quick rundown for chapters 12 and 13. Module 10 assignments, you have your chapter 12 and 13 quiz, which should be familiar, your last 2 quizzes of the semester. Your discussion board, I'd like you to identify 3 takeaways from the class as a whole. It doesn't have to be specifically from this module, but just what are the 3 biggest takeaways that you gleaned from this course that you will take into your future courses and into your classroom? What was the most powerful for you? And then you can reply to your classmates there. So after you've had some more intense discussion board posts over the course of the last few modules. This should be a nice wrap-up one where you pull it all together. And then your project, again, you should see some familiar pieces, your last batch of vocabulary from the 2 chapters. Again, make sure that it's all in your own words. You have 2 different writing activities that you can work with, biopoems and geopoems, and so that's really nice to look at it from the student's perspective, but then think about how you can bring that into your class. From the teacher perspective. There is an activity on the steps in the writing process, and then you can develop for your last activity a web quest. And when you're doing your web quest, make sure that you create that in a different document and attach that as a second attachment rather than just putting it right into your project. It will work better that way with the template. Okay, if you have any questions about any components of that project, certainly let me know. Then as you finish up, some of you are finishing up or are already close to finished with Module 10, you're going to go ahead and look into your culminating activities. So let me pull down there. I know I've talked about this several times so far this semester. If you haven't watched this video here on culminating assessments, make sure to do that so that you can review what you need to do for your 2 culminating assessments. You have your philosophy of teaching literacy statement, your discussion board in Module 9 helped with one component of that, but make sure to read back through those directions, and you've got that due by Friday, August 4th. You certainly can complete that early. I would make sure that you've accomplished a good portion of Module 10 so you can have that writing piece in your philosophy statement as well. And then there's information here about your final exam. Final exam makes it sound a bit bigger than it actually is, but it is similar to your quizzes that you've had all semester long. But there will be 55 multiple choice questions. You can use your book, your notes, your assignments. But because it's open book, I wouldn't go into it without preparing because there is a 2-hour time limit. So make sure that you're reviewing your course content, look at your past chapter quizzes in the different materials that you've worked with this semester, so that if you are looking for some support as you're completing some of those questions, that you have reviewed it well so that you know right where to find it. Okay, and so that is it for module, for your culminating assessments. Both the philosophy of teaching literacy statement and the final multiple choice exam are due by Friday, August 4th at noon. If you are completed with module 10, as I said earlier, you may start that early. The final exam will automatically open right after midnight, so first thing Wednesday, August 2nd. If you would like it early, just shoot me an email and I can set that up so it will come in early. Okay, and then you can finish that out early if you would like. Okay. All right, so that's what we have there for your last module and your culminating assessment. It really has been a pleasure to work with you this semester. I've enjoyed the conversations and emails that I've had with many of you over the course of this semester. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. We can chat over email or we can set up a time in Blackboard Collaborate. Have a great last week and a half, 2 weeks of your semester. Job well done.